This is Between Hooksets. I'm Chasen Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the fishing crew.
What is going on, buddy?
I'm just glad that I've got Wi-Fi and cell service. I had nothing. Uncle Lou, how do you do? Yeah, I had nothing about half an hour ago.
By the way, Uncle Lou commented at 6:32 on YouTube saying good evening.
No kidding. He was there that early.
Or if he jumped in to say it early.
Well, that's always good. We got 3 inches of rain last night, or yesterday anyway, so we're pretty doggone happy up here.
Yeah. I don't know what we ended up hammering with. I talked to a buddy over by north of Groton, and they got 4 inches overnight.
Yeah, they did Lake Hiddenwood up here, north of Selby, north of Java. They got 6.
Wow.
So, yeah, a ton of rain, and it was good rain, too. You know, there were a few areas that got a little bit of hail. The wind knocked over one of my fences. I'm not quite understanding how that happened, but it wanted front row. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know, you come early, you get a front row seat free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, we've been begging for rain like crazy, and we're getting some. But now the heat here on the backside, this 100, 105 is ridiculous.
Yeah. I looked at the weather coming up for the Gov Cup. We have, let me look at it now. We had 2 days over 100, like 105. But going out to the Gov Cup, it looked like it was going to cool off. Now,
oh, I hope so, because the Swasometer would have been just pegging.
Monday's 104, Tuesday's 102, Wednesday's 100, 101, 101 on Friday, 96 and 94 for the weekend.
Okay, well, that's still too hot, right? I mean, just way too hot. I wish I was in Montana right now, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's hot out there or not. We're going to find out, though, right?
We're going to have a big night tonight. I don't want to take too much time of us dummies rambling. We got that last week. So, yeah, we've had these guys on separately, and now it's time to get the young Hammer crew, these young guns that I think you may – I want to give you credit because you told both these guys they had to meet, and I'm not going to say they blew you off, but they're like, yeah, okay. And then next thing you know – Beau
looked at me almost cross-eyed a little bit like, what? And I mentioned Beau to Jayden up in North Dakota. And so anyway, you know, credit or not, whatever, you two you were my dream team from the moment I met Jayden up in North Dakota, because I'm like, oh God, these two have to fish together. And then here you are. So I'm just like a proud papa, whatever. I'm excited for the fact that you two, you know, took the initiative to get a hold of each other and decide to fish together. It's a match made in walleye heaven.
For sure.
Yeah, I found him at Lake Erie, and he just wasn't catching them. And I told him that I could show him a couple waypoints.
There you go. Yeah, that's the way to do that. But you know, it is truly amazing how you can have. You know, a couple of, I'm going to keep calling you Walleye Phenoms, but to hit it like you did separately in 2 separate states, and then come together and be this great pair is, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, it really is. It gives a whole new fan base kind of situation to walleye fishing, because I just think there's going to be a ton of young people that maybe don't even fish that are excited about your Instagrams, your TikToks, whatever it happens to be, right?
Oh yeah, I think one thing cool about us too is we grew up fishing. We both fished a lot, obviously, when we were younger and stuff. And then when we meet each other, we both had completely different techniques of what we did. I mean, complete opposite of each other. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was really surprised when you and I talked in Mobridge. You know, we talked for quite a while, and you were telling me how you fish, how you catch fish, and I knew darn well that was not how Beau did it. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a real interesting pairing, because whether you're shallow or deep, it doesn't matter. You guys are going to be able to dial this thing in.
Yeah, like the first 2 events, we were throwing like we and Jayden are talking. I was like, "What are you getting them on?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm throwing crawlers or whatever." I was like, "Well, I'm throwing 3/4 ounce jigs like I usually do." And then the next event we're throwing big jigs, and he's like, "I never bought a 3/4 ounce jig before I met you." You know, so
I always say that the biggest jig I used before I met this guy was 3/8 ounce jig, and I thought that was like huge. When I threw that my rod, I was jigging with my rod, and I was like, I'm jigging or we call them rocks. And then he showed me what a real rock was after
golf balls.
Yeah. And it's definitely different. It's pretty cool though how it's almost two different techniques. When you're throwing them big jigs and stuff, you're kind of going for those really aggressive fish and you're trying to go through as many as possible, trying to cast at as many possible every day. And like with your more finesse jigs, it takes a while to land it on their head if you're trying to do something like that. So you're only getting in front of so many fish a day versus like a bigger jig, you can get in front of a lot more. So it depends where you're at and how the fish are biting, and they both work crazy good at times.
It does take a little bit, though, to get used to that great big rock. It's great once you see how fast they go and you can get down there as quick as you possibly can, or even quicker than you thought you could. But then to actually take that finesse that you were using on that 3/8 or even that 1/4 ounce and then relate that to that big, heavy jig, to me, it just felt completely different. It felt really odd, and I'm really bad with a 1/4 ounce jig. It's just horrible. The heavier, the better for me, but it was awkward.
Oh yeah, a 1/4 ounce is even heavier for me. It's usually a 16th or an 1/8 is what I would throw last year. I was on Skakawea, and I would throw at a fish maybe 30 to 40 casts before it actually landed in front of their nose. But I was pretty confident once they seen the bait, it was game over.
Wow. Yeah, it is really crazy how walleye fishing has changed, and you know what? It's gonna change again. We're gonna go from the cheater box to we don't need the box now, but now we got cheater deucers that you don't even have to cheat anymore. You get this deucer, you win a tournament. I mean that's all there is to it, right? I mean, so 44 to 42, they were supposed to be. Garmin was sending me one of each, and they were supposed to be here today, and they didn't show. So I don't know if they were April Fools in me, tricking me or whatever, but I'm a little bummed out I don't have an advanced copy of both.
Yeah, they're gonna be cool to play with anyway. I know Lowrance came out with theirs however many weeks ago and stuff, and now this one comes out, so we're definitely gonna play with them as soon as we get them. We don't got them yet, but hopefully when we do get them, hopefully soon enough, we can figure them out.
You don't need to go to Runnings in Mobridge because I've already done that. They don't have it yet.
You answered my question if you've had to try them yet. So I'll be really interested. I guess my question is, do you need both? Right? I watched Danny Thompson's video and he was talking about them, and one's more long range and one's high def up close. So is it going to be a guy who needs both of them on the boat? That's my question.
I mean, I can talk for both of us. We're both getting both of them. I'd be curious to see what we end up running.
Right.
Obviously, not a lot out about them, so we're gonna have to play around with them a little bit. But yeah, we're both definitely gonna get both and see what we think.
Well, I would like to say that everybody should get the long range, so that I could still get the high def. You know, the for guys like me, right? The guys that are fiddle farting around, we don't need to look 200 feet out. We need to see what's below us. We need to see the best mark we can in those trees or off that point or on that inside turn or wherever. Yeah, I hardly ever look 100 feet out. I'm looking 50, but I've got the 32, right? So I'm still dealing with the original technology. So I've got to see as clear as I possibly can. So I'm just not going to look out that far. But I still don't think I would be out fiddling around looking that far ahead. Even 100, 75 dry nuts. I'm at 50, 60. I might go 80 a little bit, but. I'm curious to see what you guys say when you have the chance to use them.
Yeah, on bait and knock, we would blow our screens out to like 130 feet because every fish you've seen was right. So it is nice in some aspects when you're trying to cover a lot of water, but usually a guy runs about 100 feet out.
Yeah, even I run on Skakawea no more than 90, hardly ever. Yeah. Bait and knock was an exception, but also those fish were like halfway up the water column, so it was a little different. And we always bump it in once you get close enough to them, get them to about like 70 foot, and then you bump it in so you get a more precise cast and kind of twitch your bait at the right angles for how you're chasing. But I hardly ever run more than 100 foot ever.
Well, and I'm going to say right now, if you don't have a 16-inch graph or better,
Yeah.
anything over 100 is gonna. I mean, minimum of 12. Anything over 100 is gonna be garbage. If you got the X bundle and you buy the 44 and think you're shooting out 180, 200 feet, you're gonna be struggling.
No.
He's got a flat screen on his boat, so yeah, he can look out probably 400 feet. Yeah.
You got the 22 on the front of your boat, Jayden?
Yeah, the 92-22. We had that last year too. We might have been. A lot of guys ran them this year, but last year I was the only one that I knew that had one, and that thing's sweet. Especially when you're up shallow. I like fishing in the weeds a lot, and I think that's a little secret weapon is that thing in the weeds. It's pretty cool.
Steve said the
Tied behind their back. Oh man.
tied behind their back. But yeah, I mean, so 2 different fishing styles. You know, Jayden, you're very new to scoping. I mean, you're in your infancy of scoping. Beau, have you pretty much had it since it's came out, right? I mean, you were early on. I mean, for being a young buck, you were one of the first guys. You were utilizing it early.
Yeah, this is probably my third season, I'd say. My third full season really scoping hard. Did it a little bit before that, but really had no clue what I was doing. Nobody really knew how good it was going to be till people started winning everything on it, I guess. But yeah, this is probably my third full season, I'd say.
Well, honestly, when it comes down to being able to target an individual fish, how can it not be the thing to use? And the thing that actually works, because let's face it, walleye fishing for decades was all about luck. Maybe there were a few guys out there, like Bob Prop Sr., who could just smell a walleye no matter, whether he was on the water or not. He just, oh yeah, they're biting, that kind of thing. But it was a lot of luck for the most part. And now that you're seeing those marks, now you can play with them. And well, Beau, your dad and Garrick and those guys, they were using the 2D and really kind of sort of using it like we're using live scope now, right? They knew the marks, they knew the fish, and if they saw them, they'd go back and they'd fish them with success.
Yeah, actually, Garrick is the one who taught me and my dad that. We were down at Whitlocks one day, driving around at like 7 miles an hour, and he was showing us the marks on all the Rance 2D that you want to see, and like when they were the arches that were pretty long and when you're going 8 miles an hour and fulfilled the whole way through, we would actually, a guy in the front would slam in reverse and 2 guys would flip in the back into the prop wash. And I mean, I'd say 25% of the time you'd rip a 6-pounder out of there. It was pretty cool. I've never seen nothing like it before.
Yeah, that's really actually very cool. So you guys, are you using the 2D when you're searching and looking and doing things?
He doesn't have 2D on his boat.
Oh, you don't even have 2D? Really?
Yeah, we had a tournament in like May on the Missouri River called the Big Muddy, and everybody was telling me, they're like, yeah, side scan this sandbar, and I was like, I don't have side scan on my boat. Yeah,
no side scan, no 2D, no down, just live scope.
Nope. Yep, just live scope. There's a 2D transducer where I can like see it going like 2 miles an hour, maybe the bottom. So I know how deep it is when I'm stopped, but that's about all she is.
Yeah, it's not going to do you any good. Yeah. Well, you're learning now that you really should have them, because they really all do work in concert. They really have a purpose, each and every one of them, together and separately.
I think before you get the 42 and the 44, buy the $150 2D transfer.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I can now. I think it's just part of the luck. I think no transducers on the boat.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? There's something to be said for that too. There is. So let's talk equipment a little bit.
Let me pause this. You fish the Big Muddy, the shittiest in the country,
without 2D.
Without 2D sonar to figure out where the fuck you were going.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And took 6th. Is the best part.
Yeah, right. Oh God, that's actually pretty hilarious.
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty funny. That everybody always asks me like side scan related stuff, and I'm like, I'm the last guy you can ask. I have never seen one of, like, I've never put that on my chart in my life. So
wow. Well, then again, you are all of 19, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you were born after that technology.
No mapping.
No mapping.
You're running.
We got mapping. We got mapping.
Okay.
I don't look at it too often, but we got it.
There's no change.
Honestly, you don't need it.
Yep.
You really don't need the detailed bathymetry. You just need to know where the points are, the ins turns, and frankly, now with live scope, you can find a pile of rocks. You can find all the trees you want. You just gotta drive.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask. So you've been only live scoping for about a year and a half.
Yep.
What you had to have a transducer before that?
Yeah, we had 2D for sure. I remember we had this was the black Camus we have right now. That is just like an in-hole 2D or something. You can barely see the bottom with it too. Like there's no high detail to it at all. But I want to say we had a red Camus before that, and I want to say it had everything on it, like side scan and everything. But I didn't know how to use it. That's for sure.
You had a Humminbird Piranha on there, maybe.
Yeah, I would just go pull creek chubs, and that was about it.
Sure.
Beau, I think we need to take him out ice fishing with a flasher, and that's all he gets. He doesn't get anything but a flasher.
Yeah, you are not going to like a flasher. I started ice fishing with 2D sonar while all my buddies were using Vexlars, and nope. I am all about the 2D sonar. Well, and frankly, I still love ice fishing with 2D sonar. You know, because I still think that there's a certain amount of noise that those walleye hear in the winter, because things are quite a bit more calm, right? You've got protection from the wind, you've got a sheet of ice on there, and anything and everything can be picked up and heard. And I truly think that when you shut it off, you have more fish come in. But there's just something about watching the history on that 2D when fish come in, and you smack them and you bring them up.
That's definitely true, because like some of the fish we're fishing, they're all sitting still, and sometimes if you sit there and you look at them long enough, they'll go to bottom or just start swimming or something. They can definitely feel something down there.
And one thing I noticed, ice fishing with like live scope and stuff like that. We've had times back home in like these prairie pothole lakes that, you know, there's the same fish are swimming around the whole thing. I mean, it's not very big lake, and there's a lot of ice houses out there or something. You'll have your live scope at them in forward view, and you'll be looking at them, and they'll be swimming right at you. And then when they get to about 20, 30 foot, they'll stop, turn around, and swim the absolute opposite way.
32 feet. So I did, okay, let's, hey, on the Humminbird 2D set up where it's almost like live scope straight down. Yeah, that's true. That's what they used to do in the olden days. It's so true. But so I did an episode on my In Through the Outdoors, and I remember something about 32. So and I started keeping track of it. We would have fish come in. They get to 32 feet, gone. Come in, and I don't care where they were coming. It didn't matter, left or right. And all of a sudden, gone. I mean, they just absolutely disappear. So I'm glad you said, 25 to 30 feet. It's true. I think they feel it. And it depends. I was in a shallower lake the few times that I really decided or discovered that was a true thing, right? I was in 8 feet, 10 feet, 7 feet, 5 feet, maybe 12 feet, but like not in Ponset where I'm 20 feet deep. So there's a thing to it.
So with that, like, Beau, you've been doing this a while, and this brings me up to a question I've been wanting to ask. Like, do you think these fish, especially, everywhere, but Lake Oahe in particular, are over this erratic? Like, I've been watching all year, and if you rip it hard, they're swimming another way. Do you think you got to be more finesse on these fish now?
They definitely seen a lot of, like, let's say jig wraps, for example. Like, before anybody knew how to live scope, I'd go out every night and like catch 10 to 15 over 29 inches pretty frequently around the Casca. And now it's just hard to do anymore. It's not gonna say it's finesse, but you definitely got to change it up here and there. And then we call ones like they just commit suicide on it. Like, you still do see those, but they don't exist like they used to. Like, every suspended fish I used to see around the Casca would 100% of the time bite. Like, you'd like set your phone down behind you to get a video of you setting the hook because you just knew it was gonna bite. Like, there's no like doubt about it. So there's definitely.
You think about that, right? Back then, there was a half a dozen of you doing it. Now every Tom, Dick, and Harry is dropping a jig and wrap in the trees with zero success. So now you've got hundreds of jigging wraps just bouncing all over, and the fish are like, yeah, whatever. Right. I mean, it does make a ton of sense. And Randash, by the way, we can't forget to have Jim Randash on. He sent me another message again and wants to be on the show. So we'd love to have him on. Let's see. Seen him split around Snow Bear Live and on 360.
Yeah.
Yep. Cashes a check this weekend so he can afford to shave those sideburns. You know what? You got to go with the look, right? I mean, that's trees are loaded. Here's the deal: I would love to go down and scuba dive because those trees are so loaded with jigging wraps and cranks that it would be cranking Christmas down there.
But yeah, I mean, like you guys came to Mobridge, like talking to some of the guys up there, like like you said, when you started any suspended fish, you got that jigging wrap, and 5 feet of them, they were committing suicide on it, right? I mean, they literally were coming after, and it was game over. Now you land on their nose and you move it the wrong way, and they're gone. Yep. Like they leave and don't even look at it. So, and that's what I was watching Jayden on live out in Bait and Knock, and you were just tapping the bottom of your rod.
Yep. Yeah. So on some of the fish, for sure. That's how I got one of the big ones to bite. Is I cast at him. I cast at him 3 times, I think, with my normal cadence, which is just like a regular, just a twitch. Your hands almost going like this type of thing, just barely moving it. And then they chase it up, and you're just twitching that jig, and they're chasing, and a lot of times they'll grab the back of your crawler and then ingest it. But this one wouldn't bite, so I'm throwing different things at it, and I throw like they call them the koi keys, one of them urchin baits at it. And I'm not sure if that fired him up because he didn't bite that, but he came at it and looked hard. He didn't bite it. And then my next cast, I threw a crawler at him again, the same bait. And I started tapping the back of my rod like this, about as fast as I could. You can go watch it on the video. I mean, I'm smoking the rod. And this thing comes up, and he's like staring at it, and then he just engulfs it. And then you can almost see like the look in my face. I'm like, oh shoot, this is a big one. And I was like, set the hook, and then
When in doubt, jig and crawler out. What's up, fellas? There's target walleye.
Yeah, I mean, I was, like I said, I was watching that, and I picked up on you just like basically tapping the bottom of the rod, and I'm like, these fish. Like I talked to guys in Mobridge that said they were dropping number 11 jigging wraps in 12 foot of water on their head and picking it up a foot to 18 inches and just setting it on the bottom, and then and then it would finally just reach up and bite it. And they would just see their jigging wrap disappear on the screen, and they'd set the hook. So, I mean, I'm just wondering if the erratic rip is kind of getting programmed in their head not to bite that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're definitely changing a little. Even like the Governor's Cup last year, I think that everybody was ripping it super hard, and I don't really reef on it. And I had guys fishing around me, and nobody really got them. And I just my jig wrap cadence is just kind of like this, It's nothing erratic like you're saying. I just kind of like this, Just there's light pops,
Last fall, I tried because I couldn't get anything to bite. Right? I thought, what did I say, Kurt? I went out 7 times and zeroed. Yeah, 7 trips, 4 to 7 hours, and zeroed, and it was starting to piss me off, right? So I started to modify the jigging wraps. I started putting feathers on the hook, the VMC, the silver dangly thing. I don't know what they're called. I don't care either, but I'm fiddling with it. I even put a little small propeller on the back blade or on the back hook of the jigging wrap, and then put one of those little rubber the glow in the dark beads on the back to hold it in place, so that when I pulled it through the water it would spin, because if you didn't have it on there, it'd just sit there and do nothing. So I'm trying to make noise down there. I'm doing whatever I possibly can. Nothing cared. I mean, any modification I made to it, it went absolutely nowhere. And Kurt, I know what you're thinking, but I'm serious. I'm just one of those guys. I gotta fiddle. I gotta try. I gotta do something. And if I made noise, I don't think it did any good. And frankly, it seemed like the more I let it just be a dead stick, the more interest I had in it. But it just doesn't work that way down there, that far down. But it seemed to work better if I just let it sit.
Yes. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm just, it's been a talk because it's been it's a different than it was 3-4 years ago. And I want to, like, Beau, when you're saying you're seeing a suspended fish and they're just not there, let's clarify this. You're still seeing them. They're just not biting like you used to get them to bite.
Yeah, they're also
fish out of the.
They're also not there like they used to be, just because everybody figured out. I think everybody used to think they were carp or something, So they're still there, but not like they used to be. But they just don't bite like they used to. I mean, like, you were so confident when you used to see one, and I'd say there's about half to a quarter as many suspended as there used to be.
Yeah. And them fish are aging out too, and all the different things. But yeah, I mean, it's the system's changing with bait, because we don't got the herring like we used to have the herring. So it's kind of changing. But now that you guys, let's get into how you guys teamed up, and you went to Wyoming to fish their Governor's Cup. Was that the first time for a tournament you two were in the boat together?
Well, actually, we fished the Casino Cup before Mobridge together. We just hopped in. I hopped in his boat for that one, and then we went to Wyoming, and Wyoming's a special place. I mean, that place is cool, full of cool people. Everybody was awesome that we talked to there, and it was kind of two things. We both brought our boats, so there's weeds there. The water was fairly clear. I mean, what was it? How clear?
20 foot.
20 foot. So I mean, you can see down a ways. And he's a deep guy, and then I'm the shallow guy, we kind of say. So I spent all my week in the weeds, less than 20 foot or whatever they grew to. And then he spent all week out deep. And I kind of just tried to dial in as many 16 to 20 inches in the weeds as possible. Seemed to be as big as I could catch them in there. They were like, maybe I caught 126 and then a couple like 22s throughout the week. And then he'll let you talk about your deep stuff.
Yeah, so I looked at a black screen with a million suckers on it all week long. He had like 4 different kind of suckers there. That was miserable. No, so I think I got 2 big ones. It's all pre-fish there, but I seen a couple more, and whatnot. And yeah, we were really just fishing out in the middle of the river channel that ran through in between 2 bays, and ended up finding a couple hogs out there. And I caught like a 29 in pre-fish or something. And we're like, well, the plan is let's run into his stuff, catch a limit, 16 to 20 inches, because it's like you got to run them to the weigh boat, and they check them all for you. And then we're like, okay, and you have like 12 fish on your cart, I believe it was. And then we're like, all right, we'll get a limit in the boat, and then try to go get a big one or two, like looking for 1 big bite a day. And day 1, we went and put 4 in the boat, I think.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, we put 4 in the boat, and we're like, all right, let's go catch a big one now. And only seen one that day. Only deep fish we've seen all week that didn't bite. But it was like a 30, 29 inch range, and we're like, all right, whatever, and went in. Only ended up weighing 4 fish, and then day 2, nothing went right really until the end. We checked his like 2 or 3 spots and just got our teeth kicked in, and I tried to go shallow in this one bay actually, and I was like, yeah, there was some pods of fish back here, and we really scrambled over there and like didn't plan on going there at all. And he ended up rolling a couple. I guess caught 1 back there, but Jayden put a limit in the boat back there, and we're like, all right, now we just need a hog out in my deep hole. And this story is freaking hilarious. We go, so we're like, you're literally driving out in 45 foot looking for a suspended walleye in this like half-mile by half-mile area, and just like praying you see 1 fish in 6 hours. And like we are driving, and me and Jayden are talking or whatever, like, gosh, we need to see one, and this is literally the only big fish game plan we have too, so there's nothing else we can do. So we're just driving. And I'm like, is that a big one? And I'm like looking at it for a minute, because you haven't seen a fish, or you haven't seen a walleye in 3 hours. And by the way, there's like suckers covering the screen everywhere you look, and suckers look exactly like walleyes on live scope. And like you could just tell how she was swimming. She was kind of staying level, and suckers will go up and down, and walleyes are usually level. And they're like, there's actually like a 23 incher with her too. And I grab my jig wrap and I flip a jig wrap at it, and she just freaking flies up, and I'm like, oh. I just never bit. And I'm like, me and Jayden are like, oh, we got another bait. And Jayden runs to the back, and he flips this half-ounce jig with like a 3.5 inch, 4.5 inch moochman, or I don't remember what it was, but that sounds right. And it starts coming. He's like, oh crap, she bit the tail. She's holding on to the tail of the plastic. And he's like, I was like, you sure? And it was like 3,000, like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and she just sucked it in, and he set the hook. Before this even happened, he was like, dude, I'm shaking because we just see big ones out there.
But before we even made a cast, I was like, dude, I think I'm shaking, dude. This is like a giant. We've been out here yesterday we were out there for like 5-6 hours. This day we were out there for another 3, 4, 5 hours. And we finally seen one, another one, and we're like, oh shoot. Like when you see one, it goes down. And I hook into this thing, and the water's so clear, I'm fighting it. And I haven't caught a fish over 26 inches all week, so I haven't felt like a big walleye fighting. And I'm like, this thing might be a salmon, I'm like, what's in this lake?
And they're walleyes out there. They fight. I mean, they're
hard. And I'm reeling this thing in. I think we had it, and we were sitting in 45 foot, but I think she was sitting at around like 25, 30 foot down. So we're fighting this thing, and then he's digging, and I'm reeling her in, and then the water's fairly clear, so he's over on the side, like looking down, like as hard as he could the whole time. And then eventually he's like, oh, it's a walleye, and we're like, oh shoot, and then I just kept reeling her in. They got in the boat, and as soon as that thing hit the net, the hardest swing at my back possible with his hand. I think I still have a black and blue mark back there. That was a month ago.
Oh, I was fired up. That was awesome. That was probably one of the coolest tournament moments I've ever had in my life. Just because, like, the fact that you don't see one, you see one big one every 6 hours, and that was our whole game plan. We're like expecting to see one big one a day, and then it ended up working out. And I think that was the biggest bag of the tournament we ended up having that day because that kicker or whatever. But yeah, it was an unreal moment. It was pretty. It's a cool fishery, but apparently this year it's terrible. Usually they have a bunch of big ones, is what we heard. But
yeah.
So what was the scuttlebutt about this year out there then? Water level down, or?
Well, they said something about how is it shad that was out there?
Yeah, they didn't freeze or something. And their shad didn't die off.
The lake froze for like 10 days all year or something like that, so the shad never died off.
And they said everybody got to fish like way longer than they usually do, I guess, because they were boat fishing in January.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is never heard of in a mountain lake like that in Wyoming. So, yeah, I mean, the lakes, them lakes are known for giant fish out there. I mean, they're just. And they've gotten a little more publicity as of late, and that was on Glendo, right?
Yep.
You got to go to Boise. If Boise
that's what we were hearing from everybody is you got to go to Boise, You know what I mean? Yeah. So those lakes are really cool. I'd like to get back there sometime whenever I got an open spot in the schedule or something. But yeah.
Yeah, Boisen's a very cool fishery out there in Boisen, and then Woody and the crew out at the Wyoming Walleye Stampede do a hell of a job with their events, and they put on a great show out there. Very good friends with Woody, and we talk quite a bit. So yeah, go support him anytime you can, and you're gonna have some fun because it's a completely different. Like I said, 6 hours out in the middle. Bo, would you ever spend 6 hours in a half mile on Lake Oahe? Don't think so.
I know, not a chance. I mean, I'll cover like 25 miles on Oahe, and there we were covering like this one stretch, and we think they were just coming up off bottom and eating because like we couldn't find them anywhere but there, and we just think they were just laying out there, and then when they wanted to feed, they just rise up, and then when they went down to bottom, you just couldn't find. It was crazy. I don't know.
You couldn't see it. You couldn't see him on bottom for sure. One day he texted me and he's like, I got a 28 incher sitting in front of me right now out there. He just found one in pre-fish. And I was like, just stay on it for a couple hours and see what he does, see where he goes, what happens to him. And it just disappeared on bottom.
Just went down. It was up for like 15 to 20 minutes, and I think that was its feeding window, and then it just kind of lowered back down.
So Glendo, I've never been out there. I'm sure I'll never fish it. Is it a big basin lake or reservoir? What is it?
It's like a reservoir, but I'm trying to think of what it's kind of its own thing out there. It's pretty cool. There's bays to fish. There's deep stuff to fish. I'm sure none of the deep stuff that we were on or that all week that we found was really going, but there's a ton of fish in the weeds throughout the week. It was really no problem catching like 30 to 40 walleyes a day in the weeds. And then tournament day, I don't know what happened, but they were really finicky. I seen them, but they wouldn't go.
They knew it was tournament day.
Yeah.
How they know?
Was there any other Wyoming boys out in the middle of the deep stuff looking at you two driving? They're probably like, what are these two doing in the middle of the lake?
Yeah, there's a couple. couple photos taken, sent them to their buddies. They're like, "What are these clowns doing?" You know, but,
Yeah.
which we were clowns till we caught a 29 3/4 day too. But
Yeah, you got the last laugh there. Isn't that the funny thing about driving up on, I don't care where it is on Oahe, you're coming up to the 212 bridge, wherever it is, for decades. You've got boats lined up on shore, you know, they're all at the popular points. They're here, they're there. Now all of a sudden you come out and everybody's in the middle. To me, it's hilarious because years ago, I'm like, how come we don't fish out here? There's no fish out here. Well, yeah, but how come we don't fish out here? How come we're out there? Well, you know, 100 feet deep. I'm like, well, who cares? You know, there's got to be fish out here. Yeah, nobody fishes out here.
So before we get to where you're at now, let's talk about this picture you put up on Facebook a few days ago of a Xander. Let's hear this one.
yeah, we
That lake's pretty close to actually my house. So he came up. We were gonna go to Detroit Lakes just with my family and stuff for the 4th of July, just to hang out. And I was like, "You ever caught a Xander before?" And he's like, "You know, no," which not a lot of people have, I guess. And then that's like 30 minutes from my house, so we made an extra day. Went out there and went and caught a few. It's a pretty cool place. It's like a thing to do. Like it's almost like a once in a year trip for me that I do because we live so close. It's like you go out there and do it any day of the week. But yeah, that place is pretty cool.
So somebody lied to me then because I was going up there 5-6 years ago, maybe it was even longer ago, and I called up there and they go, yeah, there's nothing big up here. It's just a bunch of small ones. Don't even waste your time. So I didn't go up there. So I'm like, did he catch that in North Dakota? If he caught that in North Dakota, I mean, I'm happy for you, but I'm pissed because I didn't think there were any big ones in there because they said they all got fished out. So anyway,
yeah,
story though.
we were talking about it for a while, and then there's like a YouTube video posted by this famous guy or whatever, and he had like a 33-incher, and I was like, yeah, we better get out there and try that out. It's like once, probably never go back, but it was cool to get. You can say you caught a Xander, you know.
So
well, here's the other thing though, right? You're out there, you were scoping Xander. See, I would have gone out and I'd have been trolling bouncers. I probably never would have caught it. But it's a whole different story when you could go out there and actually look at it. It's not a huge lake either, is it, Jayden?
No, it's not tiny, but it's bigger than your average North Dakota pothole, I'd say. But I mean, it's still pretty small.
1,500 acres or 1,000 acres.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's some big Xanders out there. They've been in there for years, I guess. Right now, we're seeing a pretty good class, I feel like, for what it usually is. Because this year has been a lot of 32 to 33s taken out, but I know previous years, like a 30, 31, that was like, you get like 1 or 2 of those a day. And then now, if the bite's hot, you can get, I don't know, 5 over 32 a day fairly quick.
What did that one matter?
Did you throw it back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Isn't it crazy? I mean, when you look at it quick and you're like, yeah, now whatever. But the to me, the tail is thicker. The head is different. They're just, well, even the when you look at the dorsal fins and stuff, there's just a fair amount of difference there. And I've called them the ugly walleye for some odd reason. I hate to, sorry, Mother Nature, but I just think walleye look a lot better, but they're so huge. It's amazing.
So what did that one weigh?
We never weighed it, but it was 32 and a half, right?
Yeah, we're 32 and a half, somewhere in there.
Something like that.
Go back to the picture. They never weighed it.
Yeah.
But literally a foot from you is a scale.
Well,
look at that.
We tried
what the hell?
We tried to.
Look at there.
My scale was dead.
They got the bubba sitting right there.
Never charged a scale after Big Bay. That was probably
oh, that's funny. That's pretty observative.
So I mean, obviously you did the same thing. Is it fit for people who don't know? Is it like fishing walleyes, or talk about Xander fishing a little bit up there and talk about what it was like catching that fish? Was it just like catching a big walleye, or is it completely different?
Well, they're almost so I always say a Xander. Everybody asks me like, how are they? How do they fight? Everything like that. And I always tell them it's a combination between a walleye, a pike, a perch, and a bass all together, because they have a little aspect where they actually like spawn on beds like bass do and stuff like that, and they'll protect their fry in the spring. And then they almost have like a slime coat of a pike. It's like a walleye and pike's like mixed together basically, and the nose is really sharp and short. Actually, on live scope, you can almost see it's like Pinocchio sitting there. You can see like a nose sticking out of the fish.
Really?
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and some noses are like longer than others, like just by probably about that much, and you can literally see it on live scope. You're like, all right, that one's got a big beak, or we call them beaks or whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
you can kind of tell. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty well, and really to be able to fish Xander, right? Because you got to go across the pond to seriously fish Xander, but you can fish them in North Dakota if you want.
Yeah. Across the pond, they get a lot bigger, though, I believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
bigger.
Catch and release only deal up there?
I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody catch release though, unless they're mounting one or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think it is, but
Gotcha.
Bigger noses than others.
So you guys where are you at right now? Where are we hanging out right now? What's up next for you two guys other than National Walleye Trail at Green Bay?
I don't know what town we're in, but we're at Fort Peck. It's like a little suburb area, right, for a mile from Fort Peck. So we've got here Monday, I believe, or Sunday night or whatever, and pretty fish has been going. We either really get a huge bag one day or suck one day. So we're trying to figure some things out yet, but it's been pretty cool fishery.
What's your biggest fish of the week up there so far?
mine's a little over 32, I believe. It was like 12 pounds or something like that. We weighed it, and then I don't know. What's yours?
I think like 30 and 3/4, 30 and a half or something. No giants.
No
yet.
giants yet.
I guess
hopefully those come on game day.
Our practice partner, I think he texted us right before we started. He just had like a 32 or something too. So they're out there.
So are you guys teamed up for this event or competing against each other?
I'm fishing with my dad. He's fishing with a buddy, Luke.
Yeah, I'm fishing with Luke Spickler, and then our other buddy is teamed up with us. His name's Reed Nelson. He's from same town as he is.
We grew up together, same school, same grade. Fish. That's why I grew up fishing with. We'd go to the river, like in Valley City there, and we'd sit down there for 10 hours when we were like 10 years old. And I'd call my mom and like, hey, can you bring us Burger King or like a pizza or something like that? And then we'd sit down there for another 5 hours after that. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, 10 hours of fishing and then Pizza King for a snack. Hello.
Yep.
Reed go ahead.
Go ahead. What you're saying?
Reed just won the Minnesota.
Yeah, the MTT in Big Stone. He won that in about May, and then he got second on Ashtabula this year. I didn't get to fish that one because Beta Knock was going on and whatnot. But yeah, that's always a great tournament. That's like my favorite tournament every year.
I was gonna say Beta Knocked probably outweighed Ashtabula this year.
Yeah, just
I was like, you can't even mad that you missed it now. Like,
Yeah, no, not even for a second.
Yeah, get Reed on.
Get Reed on. Hey, you know what? Why not?
So Matt we already answered this. You guys do not have the new Garmin transducer yet, so
no,
they're in the mail, hopefully, right?
Well, I was going to use it today, but they didn't come.
Yep.
So,
stay tuned to my Facebook page. Once I get one, I'm gonna send a video of me catching one or something right away or put it up. So yep.
have you got orders in for them right now? Do you know if they're on the way or Beau? Will you
do they have orders?
Possibly.
They both got phone calls and said, "Hey, we'll just want to make sure your address is right here. We're sending you these new deucers and all this stuff." They didn't ask. They got voluntold to use it.
We were just as surprised as you guys that come out yesterday or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
we had no idea.
Well, and here's the thing: we knew something was coming, right?
Yep.
I mean, I was gonna upgrade to the 34 over the winter. I was gonna do it this spring. And I'm like, no, there's a new deucer coming. I'm waiting, and I'm glad I did. I don't know if I'll buy one or not, but I'm sure talking big like I want to get one. But the thing is the availability.
I don't.
And I saw that Lowrance 180, the XL down in Flippin, Arkansas in December, and I'm like, oh, Garmin's coming with something, and then they came with the spy pole, with the 360 UHD 360 on there, and I'm like, that ain't enough. And I said, you wait till I cast, and I didn't know if they would drop it before I cast, but they did. So they dropped it, the week before I cast, because that's usually when you hear about all the new stuff is next week, right? That's when we're going to hear all the new hot products and stuff like that. They're going to bring them to ICAST. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting ICAST if they've already released it. What else they have up their sleeve? You know, we had Danny on last year, and he's like, "Yeah, we're just going to keep doing updates. There's no plans. It's good enough. There's no plans."
Yeah, we read right through that. You know, like, yeah, he's not telling the truth.
Yeah, he's not telling us. You know, and obviously he had it when we talked to him because he had videos of ice fishing I saw. So
well, and so when he was denying, we knew damn well there was something new, because that was the first indication, like, oh, it's coming. He's not saying anything. He's tight-lipped because there's something coming. Head units that are older than 1 year or older. So I don't know. We were looking at it because I'm like, well, so can I get the new one and put it on my ice fishing bundle on the Echo Map UHD 93, whatever it is, that first gen.
I think so. I believe we were reading into it yesterday too. It sounds like they're pretty much compatible with everything the 34 was.
Yeah. So I got another comment here. Use fish bait jigs. They put fish in the boat. Do you guys know what fish bait jigs are?
I don't, but I'm gonna have to look it up after this, I think.
Yeah, either that, Troy, or you're gonna have to do another comment with a little bit more information, because we'd all like to know.
Yeah.
And Target Walleye's watching, they'd love to know.
So you guys are, I thought you guys might be fishing together out there, but so then you get done with this one and then straight to North Dakota for the North Dakota Governor's Cup. And Beau, are you heading straight to Pier to start practicing for the Gov Cup?
Yeah, I'll probably swing by the house, throw some clothes in, and then I'll probably head up to McCumsey's and get on the water. I could probably use a fresh pair of clothes, though.
You know, homie's got to spend a little time with the other Jayden. So I ran into Sam and Jayden at the parade, and I'm like, Jayden, huh? What? She goes, I'm the other Jayden. You got to be kidding me. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They were fun to talk to the other day. The parade was massive. My God, I had no idea that people came to the parade in Mobridge like they do, but there were so many people that the cell phones didn't work for anybody. Fish bait on Facebook. Been making jigs for over 50 years. Gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jayden, you end up second last year at the Gov Cup in North Dakota.
Yep.
Beau, we know you won those. So what's your plan of Jayden? What's your plan of attack going into North? Have you fished Kakawea yet this year? You got any ideas, or you just been traveling everywhere else?
So we fished it. He actually fished it the same time I did. We fished the AIM circuit. He fished with my buddy Reed. That was early May. I want to say maybe the second week of May or something like that. So it's been a while. And that was the completely opposite end of the lake, like literally the opposite end. So I haven't been down to that Garrison area yet, but my plan of attack going there is find them in the weeds or find them shallow, because everybody there fishes points and stretches along the lake, and it gets beat up so hard. It has such a small boundary. So I always try to find something way back sneaky that hopefully no one else finds. And so that'll be my first plan of attack. And then after that, maybe try to go put a big fish bite together, either in some like trees or in maybe some deep breaks or something like that, to try to get another like an 8 or 9 pounder, which is a monster for that tournament for sure.
Yeah. So Beau, going into the Gov Cup, are you taking any of the shallow water stuff you learned from Jayden, or do you just let him do the shallow water fishing and you stick to your normal game plan?
Well, actually, Walleye doesn't set up anything like Kakawea besides like the deep fish. We don't really have the shallow giants. We don't have weeds really. There's not a whole lot of weeds on Walleye like they have over in North Dakota, but it'll probably be. It's going to get one out deep, and fish are just always going to be. I mean, you can even ask him, like the 27 to 30 inch range fish are usually out deeper, and like the 23s to the 27s are kind of in the more shallow weed areas. But usually the hogs, like the tournament grade fish, are looking for on a wall here and be out deeper.
So I would ask you this, but I don't even know if you've been guiding this year because you've been everywhere in the country. Are you seeing down here on the southern end? We were out for the 4th of July fun, boating. And I've talked to a bunch of people about this. We have this weird, probably pencil size to a penny size algae all over the southern end of the lake. It's not sticking to your line. It's not sticking to nothing, but it's just everywhere.
So is it rolls, just chunks and rolls that have been
It's round.
So they've been rolling because of the waves?
No, it's round little dots. It looks like polka dots in the water. You go to pick it up and it just dissipates. It doesn't stick to anything. It's not sticking to your boat.
But it's sticking together.
It's just sticking together. Have you seen that up in a Casca area?
No. But
I didn't see it last week.
Yeah.
I guide every day. I'm home, obviously, and whatnot, but I don't remember seeing any algae or anything.
I didn't see anything. I was out Wednesday.
If it gets like really hot and the water stays still for a couple days, the backs of the bays will do it sometimes, but you don't really see it much.
This is main channel. It doesn't matter where you're at, you're seeing it. I've talked to guys that have lived out here their whole life and they've never seen anything like this. It's a really weird, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the water temp is still in the high 60s, low 70s down here. I don't know. I mean, our water temp has pretty much been stable since May. We've seen very similar water temps since May. We just haven't had the heat up. Hopefully this week with the 100-degree weather brings that water temp up to 70s, mid 70s like it should. But I don't know. It's really weird, and the fish are really weird down here right now.
Yeah, I've seen they've been getting a couple big ones. It'll be Governor's Cup's always fun. I only fished, first year was last year, but I went up and pre-fished with Dad the year before. It's it'll be interesting to see if it sets up anything similar. Obviously, a lot of guys are going to be doing some different things this year, I think, during the Governor's Cup. So we're probably going to have to find something new.
There we go. There's a layer of algae up in the Morrow.
Yeah,
you look at the river where it was at 1597 and about 5 inches. We got the 3 inches of rain, and now it's at 9 inches. So 1597 and 9 inches. So it's come up a little bit, but Moose Flats is starting to green up already. So Moose Flats is sticking out of the water quite a bit and drying up, and maybe that's part of it. Yeah, maybe we've got some of those areas that are starting to green up. We get a little water that comes up, and then it gets carried out in the water. I don't know, but it sounds kind of like a Lake Ponset deal. But
you see those ones over in the eastern side of the state or the back of the bay, and you walk in the water and it sticks to you.
Sticks to the boat.
I grew up going to Lake Byron in Huron where you took a shower as soon as you got out of the lake and the whole bottom of the shower was algae. This stuff you can't even pick it up. It just, you can't scoop the water up without it dissipating. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't know what it is, but it's got me scratching my head and several other guys because I probably had a half a dozen or better conversations about this weird algae we've never seen before. So it'll be really interesting to see what the cup brings and the warm weather. Hopefully it changes it and we get the bite to slam on because we haven't had a slammer bite yet this year. We haven't had that knockout. A couple weeks in June was okay bite, but the fish are healthy. The fish that are coming out are super healthy. And it's going to be really interesting when we see the Gov Cup next weekend. So, obviously you both head to the next one and then Green Bay. Beau, you're sitting second in points back by 1 point, correct?
Yep.
And what's your mentality going into Green Bay?
Just want to get top 10 again or top 5 again. I just want to keep up. I know a lot more. I'll have a lot better chance to seal the deal at Kakawea than I will at O'Connell just because I've never been there. And Kakawea, he called it his like home body of water because he fished there so much. So I just want to stay kind of close just to have a chance at it, And my goal is just not to get like 15th. I want to get somewhere above there and just kind of keep it somewhat close.
Yeah, because it's you go to Eric's home body of water basically.
Yeah, right.
No offense, love Eric McCoy, great guy, but go whoop his butt and hopefully the live you two. I was like, I was glad to see Eric on live, but I was really hoping to see you two side by side on live.
Yeah, that would have been fantastic. It was good to see you guys anyway, but it would have been fun together. That would have been neat. Let's see here. Bay should be a serious big fish slugfest with What, the alewives?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I've been
what's
hearing.
alewife?
I heard that the alewives moved out now, so it should be. I mean, we know nothing about Green Bay in general, but like even Beta Knock, people are talking about alewives. I don't even know if I've seen one all week. He's seen a group of them or two, but yeah, I heard that really turns them off. I think they eat so much that they're not hungry anymore. There's no point to eat. So then, if they're moved out, it should be pretty fun, I think.
Yeah, one of my buddies is from Okano. It's actually the guy's house we're staying at, and he's been out fishing, and he's just rolling them right now. He said all the alewives, the water got too warm, moved out. So
we do have a couple questions. I've been hanging on to one from Seth. He said, I heard on JMO podcast that Jayden and Beau both use Sunline. What do you think is the best advantage to it?
So honestly, the thing. Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. So honestly, the nicest thing about the Sunline, it's really thin diameter, and we always throw 22 pound. I don't throw any lighter than that. I'm always throwing 22 pound. And people are like, 22 pound? Are you serious? Well, it's lighter than like your traditional 10-pound braid. So I always throw 22. It's super castable, and like how I explain it is, it doesn't really sink. But instead of like your line bowing when your bait's falling down here and you cast it up here, it kind of cuts it more. It doesn't like sink down. It just cuts the water better because it's thin, and there's actually, I believe it's a nylon core, and then there's braid wrapped around it, and it's so tight and it just like cuts the water better. And I'm not saying your bait's going to get down there in half the time, but you might lose a second or two more instead of like when your bait's trying to pendulum down when it's got this huge bow in the line, you know.
Yeah, almost like a parachute when it has before it comes down, and then that basically just cuts it like a knife.
And it's like if you're throwing like he's got me. I've been throwing actually through crawlers all Big Bay, and I never threw a crawler before I met the guy. So it's really nice to have a really smooth line for like being able to cast 80 feet with an 1/8 ounce jig, and it's like super castable with light jigs. So that's also a plus too. And then if it's castable with light jigs, obviously it's gonna be sweet with heavy stuff too. So yeah, I throw it with jig wraps, throw it with crawlers, and he's been throwing it. I think that's what he was throwing during Big Bay. So it's pretty sweet.
So, you know, going back to Brian Woodward, we fished the NTC together. We were out in Moose Flats, and that NTC up Mobridge that year was terrible. And he's like, I'm gonna go the Wyoming trick, and I'm gonna go jigging a crawler. And I go, all you're gonna do is catch a damn catfish. And he dropped it. It wasn't even 5 minutes later, and he's like, got one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not even getting the net. I know what this is. And it was a damn catfish.
Yeah,
because it's Lake Hawaii. Like, you don't throw a jig and a crawler down. But I think there is I think we're learning more. We're learning more about it. I think it's more suspended fish and stuff like that. But Tom Seberg says, what Sunline are you using?
It's Sunline All Might. I think there's two colors. You can't really miss it.
Pink and what is it? Pink
orange,
and what's the other color? Pink and orange. Okay.
Orange camo, I think. Yep.
So yeah, well, you guys, we're getting to the end of the hour here. We appreciate you guys taking time out. I think they're doing a Calcutta in the park right now, and you guys aren't down there bidding on yourselves.
You're too young to spend that kind of money.
The Montana Gov Cup is a serious Calcutta. From my understanding, they do the first Calcutta on Wednesday night, where they block the teams and they auction everybody off, and then first day after the tournament, they do two more Calcuttas on Saturday, on the first day after the first day of the tournament, and they Calcutta the top 20 off, and then they Calcutta the whole field off. That you get to pick your two people, and it's thousands. I think
the Calcutta is now on the rules meeting night. So it'll be tomorrow night, I believe, the initial one. But I think it used to be on Wednesday or something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So like, and they do a second Calcutta or two more Calcuttas after the first day of the tournament, and I talked to a guy that he's like, I got third and I won $100 and some $1,000. And I'm like, what?
Jeez.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy. That's a rich man's game, man. I can't play that.
So Andrew, we already kind of answered that. You guys ordered both, right? You ordered both of them? Yeah. So I guess before we let you go, we're going to start with Beau. Our Mount Rushmore of fishing. Who's the four people you would fish one more day with? You would love to fish with for the first time, or give us the four.
I'm throwing Eric McCoy in there because what he did on Big Bay. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That was really impressive. He was literally casting at rocks. I mean, he was just like not even seeing fish on scope. I was really impressed by that. I like to hop in the boat and ask him a couple questions. I'll throw Dewey in there because he's won about everything. You can always learn something from that guy. He's got so many tricks up his sleeve when you know what to do with it. I like to fish with Garrick McCumsey on the Mississippi River. I've heard a lot of stories. I feel like that'd be fun. Not Garrick in general. Yeah, I'll fish with Garrick anywhere, but I really want to fish with him on the Mississippi River event. And I'll throw Dylan Nussbaum on there too. He's an absolute animal everywhere they go, and he fishes very different than we do on Oahe and stuff too. I'd like to learn a couple things from him, but yeah, that's probably my 4.
Good 4.
Yeah, I would like to fish with Sprangle on Green Bay or something like that. He's been a legend there for I don't know however many years. And then I'd like to pick some of these guys' brains apart, like Tommy Scarless back in like the early 2000s and stuff like that.
Good
I mean, they know stuff we don't know and everything like that. And then maybe Isaac Lockich. He's an animal. In my opinion, he is my best guy at live scoping right now in the walleye scenery anyway. And then I'd like to get in the boat with like one of these bass guys like Trey McKinney or something like that and pick their brain apart about how to live scope and what they do differently and what they look for, because they get to fish 365 days a year and we don't. So they know a few things for sure.
See, I love it. Okay, so the young guys are smart picking their 4, and we're here trying to be nostalgic and getting sappy, right?
Yeah.
So you know what? That's the best 8 that I've heard so far. I love it. I really do.
I love it. I know we'd all, love to fish with our loved ones that are missing, but you guys, like, we ask people this question, they're like, and it's a hard question, right? To pick people to go fishing with. But that was a great answer and a description to every single one of them.
Yep.
Why? So what a great deal. So good luck in Montana. We'll be rooting for you guys. I don't know how much coverage they do of that event out there. I mean, you barely get any service anywhere in the world. In you guys, you got Dad outside holding antennas up to get to.
I should.
Wi-Fi on tonight, but
we were talking about next year if we ever have to do it again, we're gonna get some walkie-talkies so we can talk to each other across the lake.
Oh, heck yeah! Because
it'll be like 5-6 hours later, and my videos will send like the first day. They probably thought I was like lost because they were all in the service still, and I wasn't responding, And then I come back into service and like a 32-incher sends through the group chat, 30 and a quarter, 29. So it's pretty crazy.
I'm telling you, I can text you guys the bracket, but I've got 3 or 4 guys now running the Starlink with a bracket on their boat, and it's just got a plug-in in the boat, and it's powered up and ready to go. It's just a little mini, sits on magnets, and Nate Netto with Clearview Boat Rigging is putting them in. I know 3 or 4 guys who have them, and Bo asked Trevor. I showed him the mount, and he put one in his boat. So,
really?
It's amazing, and you can just take that little mini anywhere you want to go. You can put it on your truck and have service, or you can put it in the boat. And I was out with a buddy, and he forgot to update the spring, and we did the updates right on the water with his Starlink hooked up, updated everything on his power pole unit, and we're ready to go. So pretty neat to be able to have full service everywhere you go. So that would be what I do over walkie-talkies.
Yeah, and all you need is 110, right?
Especially if you break down or something, that'd be really nice.
You need 12 volt with those.
They'll go on 12 volt?
That mini's a 12 volt. Yep.
Oh, I guess I never looked at that. I've always just plugged it into the wall and it goes. But I did not know it was 12 volt.
Yep. So it's pretty cool. So you can get a little. I can send you the link. It's I can't remember who makes it, but it's actually like a 4-wheeler mount. It's in a plastic case, and there's magnets. You just drop it on the magnets, and it will not come off your boat. So it's pretty neat. But good luck out there, boys. Bo, we'll see you next week. Jayden, we'll be following along on that other tournament that's going on the same time as the South Dakota Governor's Cup.
No, you guys don't have to follow too close. He'll probably get top 5 again, like he does in every other tournament.
We'll be following along. We'll be right there at the end of the day, every day, waiting to see where you guys fit, where all of you finish. Brent in the background, by the way. Hey, good to see you there for a little bit tonight, and thanks for hanging out in the background. Good luck fishing.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Good one.
All right. Hey, take care. Thank you.
Yep.